Welcome to the NewsHour. It has been a pivotal day of diplomacy and declarations for the future of the war in Ukraine, now mired in its fourth year.
Ukrainian and American officials convened in London in what was billed as a make-or-break meeting. Ukraine demanded a ceasefire before it would agree to any concessions, while President Trump aimed his fire at Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Nick Schifrin's been following all of this today, and he joins us here now. So, Nick, the U.S. has put forward a proposal. What's in it, and how have the Ukrainians responded?
As you said, U.S. and Ukrainian officials met today in a pivotal meeting in London. On the U.S. side, represented by Special Envoy to Ukraine, Keith Kellogg, after Secretary of State Marco Rubio canceled at the last minute. A U.S. and European official tell me that Ukraine and Europe proposed a counter-proposal to the U.S. plan that they say is this: Ukraine would give up the right to re-seize all occupied territory with its military. Ukraine would not join NATO. The U.S. would legally recognize Russian control of Crimea, but Ukraine would not have to. The U.S. would also lift sanctions on Russia. Europe would provide Ukraine security guarantees. And then there are the territorial concessions, which we'll go over with a map. Russia currently occupies about 18% of Ukraine. You see it there in pink. Under the U.S. plan, the lines would essentially freeze. So Russia would get to keep the territory it currently occupies. You see that in red, in Kherson, Zaporizhia, Luhansk, and Donetsk. But it would have to give back some territory in blue up in Kharkiv, up in the north. It would also have to give back the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant, which you see in southern Ukraine over there, that it currently occupies. Now, that counter-proposal that I mentioned, Amna, Ukrainian and European officials said that Ukraine would there'd have to be a ceasefire on the ground agreed to by Russia, and Ukraine would have to get long-term security guarantees before there could be any conversation about all of those other items, all of those other concessions. It is not clear how the White House will respond to that, but Vice President J.D. Vance said today that the U.S. did want to freeze the war on its current lines, and he reiterated the U.S. could walk away.
We've issued a very explicit proposal to both the Russians and the Ukrainians, and it's time for them to either say yes or for the United States to walk away from this process. The current line, somewhere close to them, is where you're ultimately, I think, going to draw the new lines in the conflict.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said today that Trump would not walk away by the end of the day, quote unquote, but, quote, frustration is growing.
And we saw that frustration from President Trump sort of boil over in a statement. What happened there?
Yeah, so President Trump said he noticed a statement made by Zelensky yesterday in which Zelensky ruled out Ukrainian recognition of Crimea, which Russia has occupied and annexed since 2014.
Ukraine does not legally recognize the occupation of Crimea. There is nothing to talk about. It is outside our constitution. This is our territory, the territory of the people of Ukraine.
Today, Trump disparaged that statement, writing on Truth Social. Zelensky's statement is very harmful to the peace negotiations with Russia, and that Crimea was lost years ago under the auspices of President Barack Hussein Obama and is not even a point of discussion. Nobody is asking Zelensky to recognize Crimea as Russian territory. It's inflammatory statements like Zelensky's that makes it so difficult to settle this war. But Amna, as I said, the U.S. proposal would recognize Crimea as Russian territory legally.
And Nick, you've been talking to a lot of experts about that U.S. proposal. What are they telling you? What's their analysis?
Defenders of Ukraine believe that Ukraine is being unnecessarily punished. It was Ukraine that agreed to a 30-day ceasefire unconditionally. Russia rejected it. It was Ukraine that agreed to a ceasefire on energy infrastructure, which Russia promptly went against by bombing energy infrastructure inside Ukraine. And it is Russia that is making demands on the size of Ukraine's military. Former ambassador to Ukraine, John Herbst, argues that President Trump has weakened his original positions after Russian resistance.
This is not peace through strength. This is peace through accommodating the aggressor. What Putin has done is he said no, and the administration then coddles him. They come back with additional concessions. And to offer American legal recognition of Crimea would break 85 years of sound American policy, refusing to recognize Russian conquests.
But others argue that, Herbst also argues that the U.S. should not close the door to Ukraine's membership into NATO. But others argue that there's been no consensus on Ukraine joining NATO for over a decade. And after 3 years of war, 1 million killed and wounded. The fact is that Ukraine is simply not going to be able to re-seize all of its territory. So pragmatism has to temper principle, says the Council on Foreign Relations' Charlie Kupchan.
The principle is that Ukraine should restore territorial integrity and get back every inch of its country. In reality, Ukraine can't do that because it doesn't have the military capability to do so. And as a consequence, a deal that basically says that Russia stays for now on those parts of Ukraine it occupies, and the rest of Ukraine gets on with life as a free, secure, independent country, that's a deal that Ukraine should take.
What's next, Amna? European, U.S., and Ukrainians said today they'll have future talks, and Steve Witkoff, the presidential envoy, goes to Moscow to meet Putin on Friday.
You'll be following it all. Nick Schifrin, thank you very much.
Thank you.